Go.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Veterans in Politics Municipal Endorsement Interviews 2019, brought to you by Veterans in Politics International, Inc. And we have, if you want to go visit our website, go to www.veteransinpolitics.org. And we are pleased to have on deck right now, Las Vegas City Council Ward 3. We let everybody know. We put others in emails, so we informed everybody. So these are the two candidates that showed up. We thank you very much. So before we get started, I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes, which is to tell people about yourself. And I'll give you the magic wand of 10 seconds, and you have to finish up, okay? Go ahead.
I guess I'm up first. My name is Shawn Mooneyham, born and raised here in Las Vegas, 37 years old. Work in the tourism industry. I am running for Ward 3 because we need to make a lot of changes. You know, we've got a big homeless situation. We've got areas of the city that have been neglected. And crime is getting out of control. We need to do something about that. And you know, I'm a native. I'm born and raised. You know, my heart's in this race. Anybody have any questions?
We'll get the questions.
So I'm going to pass it over to him.
Hi, I'm Aaron, and I'm 35 years old, and I'm running for Las Vegas City Council, Ward 3. I was born and raised here in Las Vegas, and I've lived in Ward 3 my entire life. I've even lived in the same house my entire life. I take a lot of ownership in that area. I've seen it come from this desert area into what it is today. I've also seen all the changes, and I want to make it better. I want to make my city better, my community better. I'm a teacher. I've taught in Ward 3, so I've met with a lot of the families, and I've seen their problems that they have, the issues they face. I want to help them. I've dealt with a lot of the homeless people in the area, working for Help of Southern Nevada. I've been in the washes, I've been in the deserts, talking to them about their issues and what they need to do to get back on their feet. I want to make that happen. I've seen a lot of the areas of the city or Ward 3 kind of erode, I guess you could say, over time. I want to help build that infrastructure back up to make it better again. I want to make Ward 3 a place where people want to be. And there's parts of it, because downtown, Fremont East, you know, I'm there quite often. I want people coming down there. Main Street, I want people coming down there. I want to bring jobs for the families. I want to bring safety. And I just want to overall improve the community. And that's why I'm running. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, candidates. Again, this is brought to you by many people. We want to appreciate our panelists here. So what we're going to do is ask our panelists to give you a question, and you have 2 minutes to answer it. I will again give you 2 minutes. I will wave my little wand 10 seconds before, and you finish it up, okay? Okay, thank you so much. So panelists, go ahead.
Troy Warner, you remember? So crime's been brought up a lot, and there's a lot of things going on around Sanctuary City around that. Our sheriff in particular has decided some of the low-level offenders that actually get arrested for committing crimes will not be killed with ICE anymore. So my question is, are you for or against sanctuary cities, and why or why not?
Well, I can tell you this, I'm disappointed with Lombardo and that decision. To be honest, I am against sanctuary cities. You know, we're almost already there. And, you know, we have enough laws on the books. We need to enforce our laws on the books and uphold the Constitution, the state and the U.S.
All right, if there are sanctuary cities, coming from an education background, I've met many students who have lived here their entire lives, while their parents might not be exactly legal. And this is the only way they know, is the way that we live. So for me, when it comes to sanctuary cities, it's kind of an iffy thing. You have to look at all perspectives. We do have laws that need to be upheld, just like you said. So we do need some immigration department better laws to enforce stuff, but it should be more on a case-by-case basis at the same time. Because when you have a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old, they only speak English, then why should they go somewhere where they have no recollection of it all? In their minds, they're Americans. So to me, it's why send them back? If you're coming in here now, well, then you need to come here legally. Yes, I agree. So when it comes to sanctuary cities, I'm on the fence with it. It depends on a case-by-case basis, really, I'd say. There are people coming here illegally and they shouldn't be. But a lot of people who come in here come in through port of entries. They're not constantly over the border, legally. They're coming in here legally. They overstay their visas, things like that. So if that's the case, then once your visa is expired, then okay, you need to go back. But as for sanctuary cities, depending on the situation, if there's a child involved, we shouldn't separate families, and that's what I believe.
Just for clarity, DAC will impact kids, have nothing to do with sanctuary cities, so just want to make sure that was clear on that. Apparently it wasn't.
Frank Switzer, family court activist. Everybody keeps talking about crime, which seems to be an issue in this city, probably due to our sheriff's ignorance. But in your wards, and in other wards where they have seen an increase of civilians carrying concealed weapons, crime has dropped dramatically. There's in fact two cities that require their citizens to carry. Their crime rate is 0.004%. Is a CCW a thing you would support to have more armed citizens in your area, in your ward, or are you against that?
I am pro Second Amendment. I believe that we should actually have a universal, CCW, or where you don't have to have one, like Arizona.
Constitutional.
Constitutional, yes. It all goes back to the Constitution. I open carry once in a while when I'm out and about. I need to do it more. I'm still learning, but I will support the Second Amendment 100%.
I'm also for it, actually. Living on Ward 3, a lot of stuff happens unexpected. You don't know what's going to happen. So being armed is something that you should have the right to do, and we do have the right to do. So I do support CCWs. I know, walking around at gas stations at night, you might need protection. You should be able to have that. I don't see why we shouldn't have that. We need to be able to protect our homes. And I also believe that we need to look out for one another. So having the CCWs, having better neighborhood watch programs or communities where everybody's all on the same page. That way we don't have any accidental shootings either. So if we're all on the same page, we all carry our guns, that's going to create a safer community. And like he was saying, or like you were saying actually, when you have the CCWs, crime does drop. And I think that combined with more neighborhood programs makes it even better.
Lena Ocasio, in Ward 3, particularly in all of Las Vegas, there's a higher homelessness problem. What are you going to do to combat that problem?
Well, I want to be that candidate that's on the city council to bridge the gap. I want to network with the county and the state. I'd like to see a coalition formed with all the municipalities, because it's not only a city of Las Vegas problem, it's a whole state problem. And the city, I don't know if they're familiar, they've started the Courtyard Project. I'd like to see that be turned into a centralized location to where if you're homeless, you can go, okay, you're a veteran, let's go get your services here and there and just make it a one universal center. But I want to be that guy, like I say, to extend that olive branch, because I feel the city does not partner enough with the county. I heard that they just actually left a committee that they were on with the county. So we need to partner with all of our allies, all of the resources. I would also like to have monthly meetings with all of the directors of the homeless shelters, Shade Tree, St. Vincent's, because I need input. We all need input. The more brains we have, or the more heads in the game, the better. That's what I would like to do. And just send task force out, volunteers, go out, let these guys know you do have service,
All right, so on the topic of homelessness, I actually worked with Help of Southern Nevada for a while, and we were going out into these encampments daily. That's what we did. I think, going back to what he said, the city really isn't involved with the organizations, all the community partners as much. I know Help of Southern Nevada, we were funded by the county, but the city wouldn't touch us. And that was something that I was always kind of wondering, like, why isn't this happening? You know, we're only limited with the funds we have. So if the county's supporting us, but the city's not, then there's kind of an issue there that the city's kind of, is the city neglecting the homeless? You know, back to the courtyard. I've worked that courtyard many times. Again, it was all the community partners such as Help of Southern Nevada, Caridad, Lutheran Services all coming together to form these monthly things where homeless could come together, get resources. What I would like to do is see the city fund some of these community partners so we could have more organization. Like, you know, with Huntridge, I was there a lot. So if we could think of a time daily, not just Huntridge, could be downtown, anywhere, where we could arrange some kind of a service to meet with homeless, you know, and bring them to the Hope Corridor to make sure they're getting those services needed. That would help. You know, it'd be like a one-way transportation, they would know that, but that way if they knew we were there to give them services, they would accept it. Because we could go to the encampments all day long, and that's what we did, but we were limited with resources. We had a team, we had 6 in the morning, 6 at night. We had 2 vehicles, you know, servicing the whole city. It just wasn't enough. And I think if the city was involved with the homeless, that could help solve the problem a lot.
Kaine, Marzola, founder, Veterans Vitality. Back to the gun issue, you're saying in high crime areas, do you think that us as a society and our community would benefit more if we taught weapon safety and gun education during early childhood development? Because as our Second Amendment, you know, we have a right to bear arms, so each individual should know how to use one, even though they may never own one. And that's what the education would bring down a lot of the accidents and a lot of these things happen due to lack of education. That's why there's stigmas attached to it. Weapons don't hurt people with bad intentions and lack of understanding of weapons hurt people.
Exactly. It starts at home. You know, I believe if you have children, you could start teaching them, you know, maybe at 5 or 6. Of course, you teach them not to touch it when there's, you know, no parent around or what have you. Also, you know, for example, I'm a fairly new gun owner. I've only owned one for about 3 years. But before I bought it, and I went and took a safety course, just because I've never been familiar with weapons. But I believe it's your fundamental right under the Constitution to be able to own. And I believe that you should start teaching young, because it's better, say for example, your child goes to somebody's house and their friend grabs the gun, at least their child would know how to, you know, disengage it or what have you, because that way that would prevent an accident.
So are you for or against implementing a strategy to put that kind of education in our school system currently?
I would be for it. You know, I think, you know, the more education as far as what involves firearms, the better. So that way you don't get, you know, accidental discharges, stuff like that.
Yeah, I too would be for that actually, because you know, in school at a young age, we teach kids that drugs are bad or not to do this, not to do that. But then again, there's also the case of weapons. Why are we not teaching them about weapons and guns like that? Because that's definitely going to be an issue in homes. A lot of homes do own guns, so a child should know how to act around one. They should know how to operate one and how to make sure it's locked up. What if you have a little kid, like, you know, I work in education, so I've heard this story before. I had a 7-year-old kid with a 3-year-old brother. Toddlers run around. That 7-year-old saw a gun, put it up, told their dad. You know, so that tells me that family had some kind of sense. You know, there was a 3-year-old running around, but by having that 7-year-old educated, they were able to prevent any kind of accidents happening. So, yeah, I mean, more education the better when it comes to everything. When it comes to guns, when it comes to drugs, any of that stuff, there should be education, and it starts in the home. Because responsible gun owners would raise responsible children, I believe.
Right, but not every home has the education. As I was saying, do you agree that it should be implemented into our school systems at an early age, at least teach them about the Second Amendment?
Yeah, I do, because, like I was saying, we teach about drugs in school, they should know about weapons and how to safely handle them and be around them, and what not to do if you see a gun laying on a table at home.
Good afternoon. Thank you both for being here. John Moore, former Assemblyman. Going back to the homeless issue here in Las Vegas, there's been a problem in the past with specifically one instance in Huntridge, the park there on Maryland Parkway and near Charleston. Folks basically that turned into an encampment. Folks showing up down there feeding everybody, you know, just willy-nilly going all over the city feeding homeless folks. Where do you stand on that? There's been several attempts to quell that. Right now that park is shut. I believe the marshals patrol there and keep a good grip on that so that that doesn't come back to being an encampment. And I see the feeding. I'm sure I sympathize with their situation, but there's resources out there for homeless folks to get fed and sheltered and that. We need more, but I think that by feeding them, it brings issues, safety issues. You don't know where the food's coming from, this and that, and it enables them. So where do you stand on that?
As far as feeding the homeless, if you're going to do that, maybe make the courtyard, maybe make that a part of the courtyard and have your company, like you're a food truck owner or a restaurant owner, and you want to donate, food, maybe make that a courtyard issue. Have them come there, so you're not clogging up the intersections, you're not clogging up the parks. Yeah, Circle Park is closed. Where'd they move now? They moved to that park on 15th in Charleston. That's all trashed and littered. So, we've got to find that comprehensive solution to fix this issue, because all we're doing is moving them around. As far as Circle Park, I don't know what we're going to do with that, because as soon as it reopens, it's probably going to end up the same way. I'd like to hold meetings with the Huntridge area and see what they want to do.
On the issue of feeding the homeless, I think we need to start educating the community on not to do that. Because what it does is it enables them. It does get food under the trash, or on the floor, I mean. And there's been times that homeless people will claim they've gotten sick because someone gave them a bad sandwich or something like that, and that could cause issues. So we need to educate the community on proper etiquette with homeless because we have to humanize them at the same time. So if we're just giving them stuff left and right, why are they going to look for homes, or why are they going to try getting back on their feet when they're constantly being given supplies of food? They don't need to do anything because people are giving it to them. So if we were able to make sure, like, this goes back to that question a while ago when I said if we were able to transport people to the courtyard, that could help them there. They could have certain spots where they could get services, not just in the middle of the city, but certain areas. The courtyard would be great because there's resources there, and there's always food in the courtyard. Well, in the corridor, there's feeding times. And there really isn't a reason why a homeless person should be hungry when there are those resources. As far as the Huntridge goes, it is closed right now, but they are planning on reopening it. What I'd like to see happen is there be more community programs in that area, more events, so that park is being used. A lot of times that park is kind of not used at all. And if it's not being used, the homeless are going to take it over. Just like when you have an abandoned house, the homeless will find it, they're very resourceful, they'll move into it. The Huntridge Park, that was happening. I know they're making some improvements now, they're building it to be more child-friendly. So hopefully those families in the Huntridge area will utilize that area and the park. I'd like to talk to those families and get their input and come up with an overall plan for it.
Another question? Okay, so that concludes our candidate interviews, our endorsement interviews for 2019 Veterans in Politics. And I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes to state why people should vote for you. So go ahead.
Why somebody should vote for me. A vote for Mooneyham brings politics back to the people. I want to be able to be reached. I'll be open. You can call me on my cell. Also, I want the people to know I am pro-Constitution. I'm pro-following the state constitution, the U.S. Constitution. We need to also enforce our laws that are on the books. So a vote for Mooneyham will bring politics back to the people. Thank you.
for me because I'm part of the community. I'm from the community. I want to represent the community. I worked with families. I understand their issues, especially from teaching. I know that a lot of them don't have the money to be involved in their child's education, and that to me is horrible. As a teacher, I've met families, well actually I've never met them, because they're working 2 or 3 jobs in the area, working at fast food places, and if they miss work, they can afford to provide their child with a home, and that's unfortunate to me. So I want to bring better jobs to the area. I want to increase safety. I'd like to get communities working together. We have Facebook pages or groups. We have that neighborhood app. If neighbors and communities are communicating with each other, that can help solve crime. Where there's community programs, crime drops. That'll be a thing. And the homeless. We need to humanize them, we need to help them. And working with them, I understand their issues, and I believe with the resources that I've had, and the experience that I have, I'll be able to come up with a program while communicating with the community to help get them home. Because you can't solve homelessness without homes. And, you know, unlike a lot of other politics, or people running, we're from the community, we're part of it. We're grassroots, and we see the problems every day. And that's why I show.
Okay, thank you so much, candidates. This has been the Veterans in Politics Municipal Endorsement Interviews 2019 for Las Vegas City Council Ward 3. So panelists, please give our candidates a round of applause. Thank you guys for coming. Good luck in your elections. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, go to www.veteransinpolitics.org. And we want to thank our sponsors, Fire Rock Steakhouse Bar and Gaming, Real Water, and of course our favorite friend, Michael Broadway with Real Estate. Thank you so much.